This is the THV Garden Party with Tasha Carlock.
Good afternoon. I am Phoebe Lawley filling in for Tasha, who is on maternity leave. Our guests today are sponsors of today's THV's The Great Hang-Up campaign. Please welcome Gary and Steve from the Gary Holt Associates law firm. Our topic today, gentlemen, is pedestrian distractions. What is a pedestrian distraction?
They refer to it as distractions instead of just calling it cell phones, because nowadays you have iPads where they're messing with the internet while walking. You have headphones on where you're jogging or riding a bike and you can't hear traffic. And so there's anything that distracts your attention is a danger.
Steve.
You know, and we've seen recently, there's a YouTube video, for example, of a woman in a mall, and she's looking at her iPhone, and she literally walks into this giant fountain in the middle of the mall. And while it's funny, it's something that we should take note. And that's the one extreme. And there was another extreme where a gentleman had his earbuds in and listening to his iPod, and unfortunately did not hear the dump truck backing up, and it ran over and killed him. And so these are the things that we want people to be aware of.
Okay. Gary, are there any proposed laws?
It's very interesting. In New York, there was a proposal for a law that involved pedestrians, and with New York City and all the street crossings, you can sure see it. But in Arkansas, in 2011, a state senator from Crossett, Jim Jeffries, proposed a bill that would prevent listening to the radio, doing anything while riding a bike, walking across the street, any sports activity, skateboard, whatever. But the bill was withdrawn. It didn't pass. Unlike Paul's law, where you can't text and drive, it was too much for the public.
Anything you would like to add?
Well, and you know, I think one of the points is that we really just need to be aware of our surroundings, and whether you're a pedestrian, and if you're paying attention and you're crossing the street, you also need to pay attention at the cars. Just because you have the right of way, unfortunately, there's still people who are driving and looking at their navigation systems or their texting, and so we all need to be aware of each other and share the road.
Right. I know we have close calls in the office, just walking down the hall, texting, almost running into each other. Yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
There's some very good reasons for employers to have a policy about their iPads and cell phones and things like that. First of all, it's your employee safety, so you want to protect them. Secondly, if you have an employee and they're in the course of their employment, you're going to be liable. If you have a child that is less than 18 driving, you're going to be liable. And if you hurt somebody, you're going to hear from somebody like me, and one of my standard questions, I make them produce their records to see if they were on the cell phone or on the computer or doing something that prevented them from paying attention.
Steve, so what should pedestrians and drivers do? What are some safety measures?
Really common sense. If you're approaching an intersection, stop playing your music. Take your earphones off, cross the intersection. Or if you're on the phone, instead of walking and staring at your phone, stop somewhere, finish your conversation and hang up. It's really common sense solutions that we just don't do anymore.
Well, in closing, anything else you guys would like to add?
Well, it's lengthy. Another time we'll talk about Paul's law and how that came into being. That's the no texting and driving in Arkansas. It's a very poignant story.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It's great, more great information about pedestrians and the distractions and ways that we can be safer. I want to thank Gary Holt and Associates law firm. We're going to hear from them again next month as they continue to sponsor today's THV's The Great Hang-Up. Thank you again. If you have any questions or advice and want to give them a call, do so. Thank you. Have a great afternoon and be safe.